Well, since it is 6 o'clock and everybody is jumping on, do we want to go around and do a quick hello intro with your name and your either whether you've got an EV and what it is, or if you're just EV curious, so we can learn who all is with us today. I will call names, I guess, but I'll start. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Davis Electric Vehicle Association meeting. We are all very excited to have you here and to listen to our wonderful presenters today. To start off, I'll do my quick introduction, which is I'm Sandra Hall. I have a Bolt EV and I've had it for about 2 years, but I've had EVs for like 6 years about, and I'm part of the board of Davis EV Association. So I'm going to just go down the list of names I have here, and if you just want to do the same, introduce yourself, let us know if you're EV curious or what EV you have, that would be great. EV curious. Ollie.
Hey everybody, my name is Ollie Danner. I'm in beautiful Bakersfield, California, the epicenter of EV adoption. Not, but we do have the worst air in the country, so we're lucky to have that. So we're really eager to increase the EV adoption. I've been in the EV outreach, EV adoption industry for about 10 years. I run a website called EV Perks, where we reward EV owners and shoppers with perks. It could be 2-for-1 pizza special. It could be a discount on chargers. Anything to increase the EV adoption. So I'm happy to be here.
Great, thanks. And Nick.
I guess I'm the only Nick. My name's Nick Sabatello. I'm in Colorado Springs. I own a Tesla Model 3P, and I've been a member of the CSEVC club for, well, I don't know, a year and a half. I've had my car for a couple of years. Also part of a couple other Denver Car Club as well. And then I'm part of the EV Readiness Advisory Committee on Colorado Springs Utilities. So I'm obviously entrenched in a lot of EV stuff. Or would like to be. So that's where I'm at.
Great. Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris Granger. I'm the executive director with Cool Davis. We provide the platform for DEVA to do its work and in Davis in the region, and partner with SAC-EV to support the local chapter. Cool Davis is a local organization that does greenhouse gas reduction with households. So all of you that are working on all kinds of incentives to get people to drive EVs, that's one of our missions. I personally, my husband and I had a Fiat on lease, and when it went away, we purchased used, which has been a great solution for us. One, for him to have a used Leaf that he commutes to Sac State, about a 20-mile drive every day, but not right now. And then I have an around town old Prius plug-in, which gets me around Davis pretty well, all electric. And then we use the hybrid portion to go long distance. And we're hoping for the right combination of cars in the future when we let these go. So
great. Danielle Platt.
Hi there, I am Danielle. I actually work for the Clean Vehicle Rebate Project, which is a state rebate program for electric vehicles. I was invited to join this group by a colleague of mine who was like, you should get to know this group because they're super cool. And I am here to answer questions, to provide resources. I just wanted to come and say hi to this group and make an introduction and see how I or my team could potentially provide help. I do not have an electric vehicle because I live in Berkeley and there's no parking room and I don't need to drive. So, but yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you all and all your beautiful faces. Thank you so much.
Great, thanks. Dave DeYoung.
Hi, I'm pretty new to the group. I have a 2018 Honda Clarity plug-in hybrid, which I drive mostly in electric mode, since it'll go about 40 miles all electric. Since I'm retired and we live in downtown Davis, there's days that go by where I don't use a car at all. So it's nice when I do to have the option of using the Honda in the electric mode.
Great. David Tolarski. Sorry, I butchered your last name.
That's okay. My name is Dave Tokarski. I am on the advisory board of SAC EV. I'm also a transportation planner with DKS Associates, and we're doing kind of moving forward in the EV planning space. I drive a 2018 Model 3, which that cool picture behind my head is actually a shot that was taken of me driving my car, which I kind of think is the coolest picture ever taken of my car. And I've been a EV advocate for about 3 years now.
Great. Dominique.
Hello. So I'm Dominique. So I was a graduate student at UC Davis Institute of Transportation Studies. I currently work for Ford, although for the purposes of this meeting, my EV owner hat is on and my Ford employee hat is off. So I don't represent Ford for this meeting. I owned a Focus Electric for a 3-year lease and just recently got a Mach-E.
Wow.
Fantastic. Eugen.
I been driving since the EV1, so for a long time, over 20 years, have a Chevy Bolt now, do a lot with SAC-E, with infrastructure, and at the moment with MUDs and requirements for new building codes.
Great. Greg. Greg Stoner.
Sorry, I have to unmute myself. I retired a couple of years ago. I'm a Subaru Forester owner, and that's the hardest thing to get rid of. But we're interested in purchasing an electric vehicle in the next couple of years. So
Wonderful.
long-time DEVA sites.
Wonderful. Heath.
Hello, folks. Yeah, this is Heath, and right now I'm being a bit shy today because I am having some dinner, and like Danielle apparently, and multitasking as well. So I just want to support all the rest of you. Many of you know that I still have the wonderful 2011 Volt, which is doing great. And hey, I'm just here to support the rest of you. So I'll keep quiet.
Awesome. Thanks, Heath. Jerry. Jerry, we're not hearing you, so maybe we'll come back to you. Jim. Jim? I see you there.
Yeah, I foolishly clicked on the little microphone near my window, and that's not the right place to click. So, hi, I'm Jim, and I still have my old VW e-Golf, and I'm very happy with it.
Great. Joel.
Tired and don't have an EV yet, but the plan is to get one this year is the goal.
Okay, exciting. Some EV curious people in our group today. Joseph.
Hello, everyone. I didn't know if there's another Joseph. Am I the only Joseph?
You're the only Joseph. Go for it.
All right. Yeah, I'm Joe. I have a 2013 Model S Tesla. I'm also president of the Tesla Owners Club for the San Joaquin Valley, which comes from Stockton all the way down to Bakersfield. So if you have an EV in that area.
Hello.
Great.
Oh, there goes Jerry. Jerry's back.
Jerry, go ahead
Hi.
and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm president of the Silicon Valley chapter of the Electric Auto Association.
Fantastic. Welcome, Jerry. Thanks, Joseph. Katrina.
Hi, everyone. I'm Katrina. I have a 2011 Chevy Volt with a gazillion miles on it, which I love to death. I'm looking at getting a BEV. I haven't decided which one yet because they're just all so fantastic. I'm on like the leadership team for DEVA here and then also for SAC EV. And so my life revolves around electric vehicles, both light duty and medium and heavy for work and for fun. So if anybody wants to talk about that, I will more than happily talk your ear off.
Great. Kelly.
Hello, I'm Kelly. I'm currently in the Denver suburbs. I drive a Honda Civic, sadly. It only has 40,000 miles on it, and it's a 2013, so I'm trying to like get that a little higher before I trade it in for an electric. And I'm presenting today on the federal EV policies, which might sway how soon I get rid of it, but we'll talk about that.
Awesome. Kristen.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Kristen Heinemeyer. I'm on the board of directors of Cool Davis and responsible for the programs committee. So I want to keep tabs on what y'all are up to, learn a little bit more about EVs. So I'm happy to be here.
Great, welcome. Lane.
Hi, I'm Lane White. I live in Roseville, California. I have a Tesla Model 3. It's almost 3 years old. So I love that thing. Anyway, I'm just here to find out what's happening, what's going on. I know you guys know, so that's why I'm here.
Great, welcome. Leona.
Hi, this is Rod and Leona Betancourt, and we're new to watching. We live in Elk Grove. We currently have a 2020 Prius Prime, and our Ford Mach-E just got in yesterday. We haven't picked it up, but it's our hope that it will be our new part of our new family.
Exciting. Well, Dominique will have to give you all the ins and outs of what to do when you get it. So
absolutely, absolutely.
Next we have Marcia.
Hi, I'm Marcia, and I have a 2017 Chevy Bolt. But our family is in the market for an SUV, so I am also interested in Dominique's talk on the Mach-E. We've been trying to find somewhere to test drive it, but nobody has any. At least we haven't found any. And let's see, I do some volunteer work with Cool Davis, so I'm very familiar with DEVA and your work. And I also am on the community advisory committee of Valley Clean Energy.
Hey, real quick, Marcia, what city are you from again?
I'm in Davis.
I'm in talks with Ford right now for with the Stockton Ford, and they're going to be getting a Mach-E here in, I think they said like 3 weeks. So and they're going to be letting us borrow it for the day so we can do some Model Y comparisons and stuff like that. So if you want to send me your email or something, I can put you on the list for that.
That'd be great. Thanks, Joseph.
Marcia, our Mach-E came into the Elk Grove Ford, and they have a test driver there now.
They do.
There you go.
Wow, that's even closer. Great. Thank you.
Nice, good connections, guys.
Yeah.
Next introduction, Nick. Wait, did you already go? No, you didn't. You did go.
Yes, I did go. Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought too. Peter.
Yeah, hi, I'm Peter Mackin. I'm lead advisor, AKA president of SAC EV. and I own a 2013 Tesla Model S. So I guess there's at least 2 of us here with the same year and model. But I've got 50,000 miles on mine, and my day job I do help developers connect the large-scale renewable generation systems to the electric power grid.
I have 124,000 miles on mine, Peter. So
Yeah. Well, the last couple years I've been driving it probably like 2,000 miles a year, so it's not racking up the miles very quick.
Richard.
Good evening. I've been an EV driver for a little over 8 years. I've got a 2017 Bolt, which I love. And before that, I had a Leaf. I'm also part of the DEVA Leadership Board too, help set up some of these meetings. And it's actually good to hear everybody. I'd like to, one thing I have to say for Joseph is, Joseph, you got to get your area to get more chargers. The Valley is just kind of a deficit for chargers. But I think Tesla's going full speed and getting chargers in down there. So you might be happy. But
yeah, we definitely need more of the regular, J1 chargers for sure.
Yeah, I installed about $5 million worth of EV chargers up and down the 99 freeway and the 5 freeway through the California Energy Commission grant. So we're getting there. Some of these projects they're still on the books, and I started them 5 years ago. So some of them take quite a long time by the time you get the utilities involved. So, but we're getting there.
Wow, that's great to hear. In fact, I think I got another item for the next DEVA meeting too.
There you go. There you go.
So, yeah.
Good.
So, Joseph and Ollie, you're online. You're on my list now.
Oh, great. So next we have Rick and Wendy.
Yeah, Rick and Wendy Edwards. We live in Wenatchee, Washington, Central Washington, the land of 2-cent kilowatt hour electricity. We bought a Leaf Plus in 2019 and just love it. And my connection to Davis, my sister lives in Davis.
Awesome. All right, so next is Robert and Barbara.
Hi, everybody. Robert and I have a 4-year-old Leaf, which is our first electric car. We love it. Even though it's only 4 years old, it's getting a little beaten up because we largely use it as a light duty truck. You would be amazed how much lumber you can cram into that thing, how many bags of potting soil. Anyway, it's a great all-purpose car for us. So even though we have an EV, we are also EV curious. We want to ditch Robert's gas car sometime in the next year or two for another BEV. And Robert looks obsessively at reports of new models coming out so that we'll be able to find the perfect one for us. And we appreciate any recommendations that people have.
Great. All right, so next we have Stephen Rounds.
Hi, I'm live in Camino, and as you can see behind me, I've got a Mach-E GT in that color, cyber orange, reserved.
It's not there yet.
Not here yet. The order books are supposedly going to open up. I just heard yesterday towards the end of April. So we'll be able to actually order it by the end of April, but they're not expected to get in until late summer, early fall. And I've got 2 kids with Volts and just waiting for mine to show up.
Great, exciting. Next is Stephen Schaefer.
Hi, I'm a first timer. I'm just getting
acclimated to Cool Davis. I'm a volunteer at the Climate Reality Project, Al Gore's effort, and have given some presentations and what have you. I spent my career in sustainable agriculture, ag and the environment at the Department of Food and Agriculture and retired from there. I'm very EV curious. I'm entertaining a little project of buying a used Volt and converting it to run on E85. I think actually that's one of the more environmentally beneficial approaches near term. And my wife has an older convertible and she loves convertibles. I'm waiting for an EV convertible.
Wonderful. And then finally we have Yvonne.
Hi. Well, like Keith, I'm multitasking. When you call it this time, we're a family of 6 and I usually do the cooking. So if you see me, I'm going to block myself out when I have to run and turn the chicken. But my daughter had one of the very first Chevy Volts, 2011, and she always says it was her most favorite car. When her husband was expanding his business, we lived together, by the way, she had to give it up. And we have had 4 Volts, and I have a Tesla now, a Model S, and just turned my 2013 8-year-old Chevy Volt to my grandson, who a week ago got his driver's license, and I had promised it to him. So. And I'm in Davis, Davis resident, longtime resident, and we're a electric vehicle or plug-in family for sure.
Great, great. Was there anybody that I missed? Johan, I think I see a Johan joined, and I don't think I got Johan. If I said that name, Johan. No. Okay. Well.
Hello.
We will. Oh, hello. Yes. Hi.
Hello.
Do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Oh, that's difficult. Nobody can tell me whether I've ever done a good job. So how to introduce myself if I'm 69, environmental engineer, and don't know where to go. I have no focus in life. My wife complains about it. So many things. Shouldn't that change?
Okay, that was quite an introduction.
I want to take that picture that's going to change the world.
Yes, that's right.
Not able to do so.
That's right.
Right. Johan has been the Cool Davis behind the scenes photographer, or in front of the scenes, depending on the event, for the last many years, actually 3 or 4 years for us. And so he used to come to the DEVA events and take your picture. It's a little harder right now.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and get us started on the meeting. We did a lot of introductions and took a lot of time, but that's okay. It's good to hear from everybody and get to know who's in the crowd with us today. We typically start off every meeting with hot topics. So this is if you have an announcement, an event you want to share, or a question that you can ask, we can connect you to the right person within this crowd. So I think I heard both Chris and Richard have hot topics. So Chris, you want to go first? I see your hand up.
Sure. We suspect that there are a fair number of EV curious and EV owners who like science fiction. And we have a special event coming up, science fiction and what you might call climate fiction writer, Kim Stanley Robinson, who has a new book out, is going to be doing a special event for us on Tuesday, February 23rd. I am putting the information in the chat, so if any of you are interested, the link to that event is there. It's a free event, although if you want to make a donation to Cool Davis, that's great. But it should be kind of a fun and interesting conversation with him talking a little bit about his new book ideas from the Ministry of the Future.
Great. Thanks, Chris. Robert, did you want to do yours?
Richard.
Or Richard, sorry.
Take Robert off the hot seat there. Boy, you scared him. Yeah, so what I kind of wanted to announce this group too is we've been talking a little bit internally, haven't gotten too far with it yet, about, hold on one second. That phone call from Sierra Club about, you know, we have our DEVA meetings and we come up with some great ideas of items to talk about, but we really don't have a large enough time to really get into some of the questions from people who are really wanting to learn about EVs or EV curious crowd. So we've been talking about planning maybe like a 2-hour session where we basically have some of our more experienced members kind of field questions from those who are interested in EVs, how to get involved with EVs, how to decide how to buy one, how to get prepared. So just kind of give everybody a heads up. We're gonna keep planning on that, and we'll advertise it when we do. If there's certain subjects you'd like to hear about, feel free to, send us a note. You could use that DEVA@cooldavis.org link that was on the notice. And so just kind of giving you a heads up. And kind of our idea was that, this kind of falls out of what we used to do at the farmers market in Davis. We used to, once a month have a EV we'd leave at the farmers market, and we'd, different owners would come and talk about their cars. And so since the last year, we haven't had that access. We've kind of lost that hands-on touch. So we'd kind of like to open that up again. So anyway, be on the outlook for that, and we'd love to provide a nice service to people. That's all.
Great. Joseph?
Oh yeah. Okay. So we are approaching our 1-year anniversary of our owners club, and I know there's a few Tesla owners out here. I just want to let everybody know that we are having on February 20th, not the 23rd. On February 20th, we are having a drive meet at the new Fireball supercharger, and we're going to be having a lot of giveaways from our sponsors and things like that. So I'll put my email in the chat so everybody who wants to reach out can do that.
Great.
And where is that going to be?
Fireball, California.
Oh, Fireball. Okay, that's kind of in the south, isn't it?
Yes. It's like the world's second largest supercharger. It's like over 70 superchargers that they put out in the middle of nowhere.
56 to be exact.
Yes, 56. 70 is the China owners.
Wow.
Great. And I think, Jim, you had something?
Hi, I'm Jim, and I'm going to try to sort of uncover what's going on in Davis as I have time available, and maybe try to report back as best I can. It's a little bit mysterious.
Can you explain what you're talking about? I don't think everybody knows.
Okay. We don't know what's going on in Davis. We find that fast chargers will suddenly appear in the middle of town, and DEVA doesn't know anything about it. We do know that there's a EV charging plan, but I have a feeling most people, even on this screen, probably don't know that there is such a thing. So I'm just trying to, politely but firmly start asking these guys, to communicate more with us. And so I just wanted to let you know that. And I have a website.
I can type it in here.
Yeah, type if you can.
Got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yep.
So anyway, it's not up to date, but it has some interesting information if you want to know a little bit about the connection with Davis. So I'm sort of trying to slowly break down the distance or the wall that's kind of between the city of Davis and the general public. This is me speaking. That's what I think it is. So I just thought I'd kind of let you know that that's what I'm going to try to do.
Okay, great.
I will butt in and say that the city of Davis is getting ready to start on EV charging plan that actually we're going to be part of the team working on that when it gets started. And the city is going to be doing outreach, as far as I know, and really looking to further public knowledge of charging activity going on in the city and infrastructure deployment.
Good to know. Jim, you might want to connect with him at.
I'm sorry, who was that speaking?
My name is David, and I'm a consultant that's going to be working with the city. So.
Oh, David Tokarski.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I can reach you through Susan. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any specific.
Not Susan.
You'll have to go with Sandra.
Through me.
Yeah. Susan's been let go. Sandra's replacement.
I got it.
So, but yeah, I'd like to talk to you afterwards.
Sandra, did I
also,
say that you had Carrie Lou from the city?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Talking at one of these soon?
Not. It was.
We've tried to do that. It's kind of like pulling teeth. We also know Brian Mickelson, and we've tried to get him too. But we're going to keep working on it.
So they both, well, Carrie's been to this meeting several times in the last year. So they are, as you know, David, working through some contract issues on the implementation of the city's programs. The new chargers that are sitting at the Bank of America were news to the city as well. Nobody talked to them about the plans to install those chargers. They just appeared in the normal permitting process. So without real consultation related to the city's plan.
I had a quick question for you, Johan. You're not on the Utilities Commission, are you?
You're on mute, Johan.
I am not doing anything. I would love to do some useful work.
I think it's Chris, you probably know who I'm talking about. It's Johannes, I guess. Is that correct?
Yes, and he's also on the Cool Davis board.
Oh, very good. Okay, I had you guys mixed up. So, okay.
Okay. Any other hot topics? At the end of the meeting, we can also jump back to any hot topics or any EV questions that might have come up that you didn't ask during the meeting to help any of those that might be EV curious and looking for a little more information as well.
I had asked at 2 meetings ago about an update on the decals in California, and somebody who is knowledgeable was going to say that, but we can skip it because, you know, not everyone is from California, so I don't want to take up too much time. But I had submitted that as a question, but I.
Oh, so you're asking about an update?
Yes, I want an update. Yeah.
I don't know. Chris, do you know an update?
No, I was just hunting the list here to see if Danielle was still on the call, because I have the feeling that some of the clean vehicle rebate people might have some ideas about what's happening with that, because it sometimes affects their reward system. So, and Katrina,
I'm not seeing her.
Yeah, you'd be the other person that I would think might have some information.
I have been thinking about what color the new stickers are, and I'm begging, I'm trying to figure it out, because that's like my life. I love the orange stickers. So I'm like waiting. So hopefully get like blue or something is kind of what I'm feeling. Are they really? Oh yeah, like got that. That's what I know, but that was a good question. I do want to keep up to date on the status of those lovely stickers.
Yeah, well, my son-in-law drives to the Bay Area, and he's usually a sole driver for his business, and having the decal is just really very convenient. So we're interested. So future agenda would be fine, because we just don't want to see it go away. But the state is has been limiting the number of decals that they provide.
So, and you're talking about the, the carpool lane decals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
HOV, right.
I think that those are issued by DMV, and I think the California Air Resources Board might have been the ones that wrote the rule and how long those can last now. So, and I recently saw an update, but it was actually now it's like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have us usher us on to the next part of our meeting. We have a presentation from Kelly Fleming of UC Davis Policy Institute for Energy, Environment, and the Economy. Kelly, I am very excited to hear about what we can expect for EVs under President Biden. I'll let you go ahead and share your screen when you're ready. And then if everybody else, if you could put yourselves on mute while she gives her presentation so we don't have any background noise, that would be wonderful. Kelly?
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to get it to share. Did that work?
Yep, there it is.
Okay, excellent. Hi, I'm Kelly Fleming. Sandra said, currently I work at UC Davis for the Policy Institute, but I'm actually starting a new job next week with the Zero Emission Transportation Association, or ZETA, where I will be doing all things federal EV policy and making the move to DC while the EV policies are hot. So I'm excited about that, and I'm gonna go through some of the things that I know Biden has proposed, things that he has done, and some recommendations that some experts have given to them. And I also want to note our executive director for the Policy Institute just yesterday was announced that he's joining the White House Council on Environmental Quality to be the senior director for transportation. So hopefully a lot of these policies get implemented, and he's like the smartest person I know, and I think we're in good hands if he's the one pushing these. And that's Austin Brown, for those of you who don't know. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with the transportation problem. This is a pie chart of emissions for the whole United States from the EPA. And transportation, I think in 2017, it surpassed every other sector for being the largest emitter, with 28% of all of our greenhouse gas emissions are from the transportation sector. I know that's a little bit hard to see from the legend, but the next is electricity at 27%, which maybe will grow if we electrify transportation. Within transportation, 82% of those are from passenger vehicles, so that's light duty and medium and heavy duty trucks. And then the rest is aircraft, rail, ships, and other off-road. So I wanted to talk about exactly what the Biden campaign planned to do with this. And this is straight from the website, the campaign website, not the White House website. He proposed installing 500,000 new public charging outlets by 2030. There's not a lot of details on how that'll happen yet, but he also vowed to restore the full electric vehicle tax credit, which we will talk about, and then to update our fuel economy standards, which he says beyond what the Obama-Biden administration put in place. So that's exciting. But the most immediate thing that I think we'll see is the lawsuit against California will be dropped. And for those of you who don't know, that it is based on the fuel efficiency standards and that Obama implemented, and the waiver that California gets under the Clean Air Act, which allows California to make its own emission standards and to implement the ZEV mandate, which requires automakers to sell a certain percentage of zero emission vehicles every year. And in order to do that, for every rule that they pass, they have to submit a waiver to the EPA, and typically they always get passed. The Trump administration tried to argue that that shouldn't be allowed anymore and to revoke it. So that's the background with the lawsuit. I'm sure you all are familiar with, where like 5 automakers sided with Mary Nichols and CARB, and the rest sided with the Trump administration. Since then, Biden said he's going to drop the lawsuit. I imagine that'll happen probably after Michael Reagan is confirmed to be the EPA administrator. But several automakers, GM and Nissan, have announced that they are dropping out of the lawsuit because they don't see the point anymore if it's just going to be undone. So we saw, what was it, 2 weeks ago, GM announced that they were going to attempt to make all of their new vehicle sales electric by 2035, which is a pretty ambitious goal, but I will note that it is exactly in line with Governor Newsom's executive order to stop the sale of combustion vehicles by 2035. And I don't think that's a coincidence. There was mixed reaction to this announcement because GM is one of the car companies that sided with Trump. And they do have a history of kind of going against fuel efficiency standards and lobbying against them and siding with the oil industry. There's literally a movie called Who Killed the Electric Car that's about the GM EV1, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen it, but if you haven't, I highly recommend it. So I thought this meme was a really good summary of kind of people's reaction to this. It's like General Motors saying, geez, why aren't we keeping up with Norway? When they're the ones who are the reason that we haven't been able to push these ambitious policies. No offense to anyone who owns a GM, the Bolt is lovely. And so the next thing that we've seen Biden do, he didn't sign the executive order yet, but when he announced the Buy American executive order, he said that he was going to convert the whole government fleet to electric. That's going to take some planning from the GSA, the Government Services Administration. I feel like I should know that acronym better. But they'll be in charge of implementing the Biden plan for that. And that includes 650,000 vehicles as of 2019. And typically they drive 4.5 billion miles. I'm guessing that's probably lower for 2020 because of COVID, but that's a lot of miles and a lot of emissions. The most obvious fleet that needs to be upgraded as it is the Postal Service fleet. Maybe you've seen the videos of their cars spontaneously combusting and breaking down. They need to be replaced. So there was actually a bill that was passed, and this is an old article. Obviously, Mitch McConnell's no longer the majority leader, but the infrastructure bill that was passed through the Senate put a provision into it saying they would set aside a certain amount for USPS upgrading their fleet. And if they make them at least 75% electric, they would give them an extra $6 billion. So that is incentivizing the Postal Service, who is not controlled by Congress or the Biden administration, some incentive to choose the electric company that has put in a bid for those. There's a little bit of conversation about whether it's possible to do 100% because of rural areas that don't currently have charging infrastructure or vehicles that have to travel a long distance and maybe they can't get the range isn't quite there yet. So that's why it's not 100%. But I'm hoping there will be studies done to really see how viable it is. And another note for the reason, one of the reasons that the Biden administration wants to electrify government fleets is they turn over every couple of years. So I would say, I think there's 250,000 USPS trucks. So aside from those, if we have 400,000 fleet vehicles selling into the secondhand market every year, that's going to really accelerate the overall adoption of EVs. And it'll make them more affordable to lower income buyers who currently don't make up much of the consumers for electric vehicles. The EV tax credits are something that Biden has said he will fully restore, and by fully restore, he means he will remove the $200,000 sales cap for. So for those of you who don't know, the $7,500 tax credit only applies if you buy from a company that has sold less than 200,000. So currently, Tesla and GM have sold over 200,000 vehicles, so they don't qualify for that tax credit anymore. The reason that they put that on there was because they were worried that Japanese companies like Toyota and Nissan were going to take over the sales and it would be bad for American car companies, but obviously that hasn't been the case since the only two that have met that are American car companies. So the Biden administration has said they're going to remove that cap There's talk of how to make this more equitable by doing an income or an MSRP cap. There's UC Davis research that shows people who are buying Teslas aren't buying them because of the $7,500 tax credit. It doesn't really mean a whole lot. Same with early adopters in general. Really, we need those tax credits to go to lower income individuals. There's some proposals to maybe stack it higher for lower income by removing it for higher income people. So if you took away the cap from people, or sorry, the credit from people who are making over like $100,000 and giving people who make under $50,000 double the credit, that would help help EV sales go up. There's also some talk of whether it should be a tax credit or not. If you don't make enough money to have $7,500 worth of taxes, a $7,500 credit isn't all that enticing. So putting it directly on the hood so that when you buy the car up front, the price is cheaper and you don't have to figure out how to finance that until you do your taxes in April. And then finally, a lot of these are equity-based incentive reform. Introducing a tax credit for secondhand incentives. One of the reasons that hasn't happened is there's some fear that people will abuse the system and buy the car, get the credit, and then resell it and get the credit again. And just there will be a cycle of that. There's ways to prevent that. And I'm hoping that the administration will look into ways to do that. The 500,000 goal was the most explicitly stated thing that Biden had in his plan. They want to make it able to drive an EV from coast to coast by 2030. I'm hoping that will happen. It seems like most of you with EVs probably know this better than I do, but there's a lack of chargers in some of these states that don't offer many incentives. So if the federal government makes the incentive nationwide, maybe there will be more chargers and more EV sales and more reason to install those. And that brings up a question about how exactly our charging infrastructure is operated and what kinds of regulations are around it. So I'm thinking there will be some discussion around that, like, do the utility companies own it? Do these private companies own it? Is it okay that we keep having proprietary charging stations like Tesla has, where only people with Teslas can charge there? Do we need to standardize it so that chargers are available to everybody? These are all really in the weeds conversations that I'm hoping will accelerate in the next couple years. And then another one is increasing our investment in research and development. I know this is kind of hard to see, but this is from the Department of Energy Vehicle Technologies Office page. Disclaimer, I used to work in this office, so I want them to get funding because I like the people who work there. But they do research in the areas of batteries and charging, energy efficient mobility systems, that's like ride sharing and automated vehicles, advanced combustion, that's like alternative fuels and fuel efficiency, lightweighting cars, which is really important so that maybe you don't need as many batteries to get a good range, technology integration, and reporting on all of these things. So some of the useful things they do is fund research at like NREL that tells us where we need chargers and how many chargers we need, what level do they need to be, how does geography change? So like in San Francisco, where a lot of people live in apartments, we can't just have people charging at home with level 1 chargers, we need more fast chargers. So getting more in the weeds for that, and that type of research needs more funding, which will help inform our decisions of where we put things in for what reason. And then other proposals that I've heard that haven't been stated by the administration necessarily are, and some of these have been introduced in Congress as bills, a fee-based system, which is where you put an extra fee on like a diesel truck or something that has really low fuel efficiency and use that money for a rebate for an electric vehicle. So that's a revenue neutral proposal. The Clean Miles standard, like they have in California, for those of you who don't know, that's for transportation network companies or Ubers and Lyfts, where CARB has told them they need to calculate their greenhouse gas emissions per passenger mile or carbon dioxide equivalent per passenger mile. And the reason they do per passenger mile is to incentivize people to carpool, because if you have a bunch of people in a car, that's lower. Some way to implement that at the federal level has been discussed. Like I said before, lower income tax credits or used vehicle credits, doing a federal ZEV mandate like what California has, maybe aiming to get the 2035 100% ZEV mandate, and then improving tax incentives for charging infrastructure. And that's all I have. I'm sure there are questions or comments, and I'd love to talk more.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kelly. If you guys have a question and you want to raise your hand, then I can call on you and you can unmute.
I'm going to stop sharing if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that was a lot to unpack.
It was a lot of good information.
You know, there's a lot to talk about, so I tried to be high level, but I get excited sometimes.
This is David. I'm not seeing the raise my hand button, but I'll raise my hand this way. How confident are you, or have you heard people being in the pulling back of the 200,000 vehicle mandates? I feel like, I mean, when it was still the Trump administration, I feel like, you know, there was no hope for that. But I also felt like at the time people weren't feeling too hopeful that it would happen, you know, coming up. And I also worry about, you know, if that gets announced at some point that it's going to happen, is that gonna, you know, would that have an extremely bad impact on sales of vehicles between the time it's announced and the time that it's enacted? I mean, I guess if it's enacted, it'd be enacted for the entire year, so maybe that wouldn't matter.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that the Biden administration wants that to happen. In order to restore the EV tax credit, it's probably going to have to go through Congress.
Does it have to go through the Senate, I guess, is the big question?
Yeah. And the roadblock there would be Joe Manchin, who's now the chair of the Energy Committee. But he generally likes incentives. I think he likes incentives and not necessarily regulation. So I think he would be open to extending the tax credit. I think Democrats have enough votes to do it. And I do think there's some.
51?
Sorry, what?
Does it just need a 51 vote from the Senate?
Well, that's a complicated question. I think if they do it in reconciliation, which means they tie it to the budget, yes. Unless the Democrats get rid of the filibuster, they have to get 60 votes to introduce bills, which we'll see what they do. I don't think they're going to get rid of the filibuster, unfortunately. But if they can tie it into reconciliation, I think it'll pass. There's a chance they have enough bipartisan support to get something like this done. It's a low chance, but maybe. That I think there's probably some Republican support for at least taking off the $200,000 cap, because it is hurting American manufacturers. But some of the, I mean, they don't like the EV tax credits, some of them. So it might be difficult to get 60 votes to support them.
Thank you.
Gotcha. Peter?
Yeah, just to kind of add on to what Kelly said, you know, just in case people don't know, Joe Manchin is actually a Democrat. So if he opposes it, they don't have a majority. So that's why they have to make sure that he's on board.
Instead of a rhino, would he be a dino? Is he a Democrat in name only?
No. It's weird. West Virginia. Is he Virginia or West Virginia?
West Virginia.
West Virginia. It's. I read an article on him, and I can't recall exactly what I read, but it's an interesting situation where he is, because that's a really Republican area, but he managed to get elected. So.
The other thing is that he's the chair of the committee, so he is in charge of bills that are introduced to the committee, and he can just refuse to introduce a bill that he doesn't like.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I'm thinking, sorry, I should raise my hand. What they could also do is match up some kind of a climate change bill with an infrastructure bill. And then Manchin would probably sign on to the infrastructure bill. And you get all the climate infrastructure solutions as well. So I bet you they're thinking something big again. But.
Any other questions out there?
I had a question about, what is the incentive for the car makers to do this? And do they have to do a lot of investment up front, to meet these goals?
I can't speak directly for car makers. I think the scale up is the toughest part. Getting the assembly lines and large scale manufacturing. I think that's part of Joe Biden's recent executive order, is to provide assistance for that, and to mandate that like batteries and things are made in the United States and not in China. Maybe someone else has more intel on that than I do.
Well, I can kind of hit that from a California perspective. California has a market for greenhouse gases. And so the credits that these car makers get for selling EVs, and it's a greenhouse gas reduction, they sell to other companies, other car companies. But all these car companies, I think if Biden's program goes through, they'll end up with targets at some point here of, reductions they have to make in their total operations to lower their greenhouse gas impacts of either the manufacturers of those automobiles or maybe the automobiles themselves. So that's how these guys make money. If they want to stay nothing but fossil fuel manufacturers, they're going to find themselves in a deep hole when it comes to greenhouse gas reductions. But a deeper hole is that if the rest of the world's selling EVs and they've got nothing but dyno cars, then that's going to be a bad market to be in. So definitely those EVs that come with money. In fact, I think that's how Tesla stayed solvent for quite a few years here, because they were selling their EV credits to all the other car makers.
Richard?
Go for it, Johan.
Do you have information about how much a ton of carbon credits is paid with? What do you get per ton of carbon equivalents?
I don't know the answer to that. Do you, Richard?
Would you say that again?
That is very crucial.
Say that again. With your whole question again, Johan?
What is the carbon price, the ton of carbon dioxide? How much do you get? Is that a fixed price?
I don't know what it is, but it's definitely, the California's Air Resources Board has a cap and trade program, and there's a definite carbon price. And the price is actually
there is.
Yeah, and I forgot. I mean, I don't want to guess at it. I mean, one time it was, I don't know. I'd be guessing.
I know.
Yeah.
I've been looking for those prices and see how they change over time and how fixed they are.
Right.
And at that time, it was between 1 and 24 euro a ton of carbon dioxide. But I can't find out a fixed price, and also not how long that price is guaranteed. I would love to know that. It's nowhere easy to be found. Otherwise, we could calculate the carbon benefit by EVs easily.
Well, definitely the cost of that ton is going to be on the Air Resources Board's website, and it fluctuates each quarter, because what happens with cap and trade is they have to make a gradual reduction in their greenhouse gases. So evidently the price per ton has gone down this last year because people basically slowed down on their manufacturing, and so they were able to meet their targets a lot easier than in the past when they were burning tons of fossil fuels. So
but in this way we cannot calculate anything. I have
Johan, this is Peter. I would say, we do in my day job, we do a lot of calculations on cost of, well, we do carbon emissions calculations for the power system. Okay. And so on our long-term estimates, 10 years, 20 years out, we've always been assuming something around $50 a ton as
How much?
as $50 a ton.
On the long term?
Yes. So if you're making a long-term investment, that's what you're going to want to assume. You don't want to pick the quarterly price that just occurred at the carb auction and go, oh, okay, I'm going to use that price because it might be $10, and then next quarter it might be 20. So you can't use the oscillating quarterly price. You have to come up with a guesstimate of what a long-term price is going to be and use that.
So how to find a long-term price?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we.
Yeah, you calculate with that.
No, we don't calculate. No, we don't calculate the price. We assume the price, and then that price goes into the calculations for the rest of the simulations. But that assumption is based upon a lot of information. I don't have the details on it. It's all actually, if you want to go to the wecc.org website and start digging around into the power system, I can maybe help you find those things, but it's all based on power systems, and it's for power system planning. It's not for EVs, but a carbon price is a carbon price. Everybody's going to have to pay the same price.
An EV is a power source.
Yeah,
it's a power plant, a small power plant.
Well, yeah, I would look at it as battery storage because it never really produces any energy, right? It absorbs energy and then converts it to something else, or you can return it back, but there's always losses, so it's never a power plant. It's always it's storage. It's different because there's always losses.
Linked to solar cells, it becomes a power plant.
Well, no, then the solar. Okay, we're getting to semantics here, but I would always say the solar cells are the power plant. The EV is not the power plant. But anyway, that's kind of a semantic thing.
Great.
If you could give me the link so that I can search at the right place, then I'm not good.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat. But there's like gigabytes of information on that website. So once you get it, maybe we can connect and I can help you track it down. But I'll put it in the chat.
Yes, thank you very much.
Sure.
Great. Do we have any other questions for Kelly? Nothing off the top of your head? Okay. Kelly, thank you so much again for giving that wonderful presentation. I might drop your email in the chat to people so that they could follow up if they do have further questions. That's okay? Okay, great. I will do that. But so thank you, Kelly. Moving on to the next presentation, we have Richard and Katrina of the DEVA board going to tell us about the hot new electric trucks on the market. I will let you guys go ahead and share your screen.
Yeah, give me a hot sec. I totally know how to use this. I am an expert. Hold on. Okay. Just spoilers. Don't look at it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay, take it away, Richard.
All right, great. So Katrina and I are gonna, actually mostly Katrina's gonna talk about this, but I wanted to give the little intro because we originally got interested in this when we heard there was a new state rule on truck rule that required a reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, actually the sale of trucks burning fossil fuels that would end by 2035. And that was dictated by the governor's executive order N79-20. Why don't you go to the next slide, Katrina? And so I won't go into all the details because SAC EV did a presentation on February 2nd when they did this. And it basically 100% of vehicle sales will be zero emission vehicles by 2035 is dictated. Excuse me. What they also worked on was a long range rule for a lot of other short haul trucks, heavy duty trucks, buses, and off-road equipment. But during that time, there are also light duty vehicles as well. Next slide. And click the button one more time. And of course, light duty vehicles, cars and SUVs, even though SUVs are really listed as light duty trucks. There's been a lot of information on that. In fact, I think DEVA did a little update this last in 2020 about new cars that are going to be on the market coming up. We'll probably do a new one. Click it again. More click, Katrina. Okay, and then once more. So what we wanted to talk about was light duty trucks, specifically pickups. And it was driven by 3 basic questions that we'd been given back in December. And click the first one. And the first one is, people asked us, well, is this even feasible? Will they even have electric pickups? You know, people love their big pickups now. They're gas hogs and they got plenty of power. Will this be feasible? Next question we'd gotten from people, click, is, will the public want these things? I mean, if we still got gas powered pickups, will they even want these EV pickups? And finally, the last bullet, click. And that is, what can we expect in pickups that are going to be on sale soon? Because what Katrina is now going to let her go into is what we've found and looked at from various number of companies. And it's pretty exciting what we're going to find in EV pickups. There's a lot of activity going on, and it looks like it's going to be some pretty interesting models. So just with that kind of intro, Katrina, why don't you just jump in and show us all the great models?
Awesome, thanks, Richard. Yeah, so we did some research about trucks because we're trying to, figure out what kind of market they're going to be looking at. So just kind of to frame the perception of just like electric vehicles overall. As maybe you do or don't know, California is about 45% of the overall electric vehicle market. So really any sort of change or like inspiration into the truck world should probably start in California. And we are starting to see that with a number of companies. I named it It's Truck Time because it was very fun for me because I had to, keep a smile while I was frantically Googling all of these fun facts for y'all. So just, starting from the top, I was looking at the Hummer. So maybe you guys saw, well, I know we saw that dramatic GM commercial that Kelly had highlighted as well. I absolutely died in that commercial. It was like the funniest thing I've ever seen. And there's also like a follow-up from Norway's electric vehicle car club that was essentially like, good luck US, like bring it on, which is a side tangent. But sorry, so the GM Hummer EV, it is expected to come out later this year, which is going to be really exciting, with a whopping 200 kilowatt hour battery pack, which is huge. For reference, if it helps you, the Bolt has about a 60 kilowatt hour battery pack. So that's kind of my frame of reference. So it's more than double that. And obviously more than double the price because it's expensive. And actually it's kind of interesting to learn that the reservations for the Hummer was actually full. So they have a couple of different tiers of like exclusivity for the Hummer. And so this top tier is actually done. And it's got 3 motors. So you can be powerful for different independent varieties of drama and exploration. And this picture actually has I assume you can see my mouse, I don't know, but this picture has the top off like that. And that's actually something you can do, which I didn't know. I was like, whoa, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that kind of power, but I feel very Jeep-like when I see it with the top off. So it was very fun. So I'm looking at the Cybertruck, which we all know and love to hate, the nice boxy material here, which I'm sure draws some contention. I also included the dramatic Lego edition of the Cybertruck because it was hilarious and I absolutely loved it. So, as Tesla goes, they have an expected release date of late 2022. I don't put that much stock in when the truck is actually going to be out. There is some drama about, battery capacity and trying to source all the materials. So we'll see kind of what's going to be coming up for that dorky little feller. But it should be fun to try to see it with all of its geometric glory with a range of up to 500 miles. Because like, whoa, like I don't drive 500 miles, but more power to you if that's the kind of range you need. The Lordstown Motors, it's called the Endurance. And I actually didn't know that much about this car. It's kind of interesting. It looks like it's kind of geared more towards like a work truck kind of perspective. So more for like the people who use trucks for work instead of just for like off-roading exploration. So that's kind of interesting. It has 4 independent motors, so each wheel is controlled separately. So if that's the kind of drama you're looking for. It actually, and also interestingly enough, which is why I thought it's kind of geared towards fleets, is that it has a top speed of 80, which I feel like is kind of not geared towards a lot of like freeway and like long distance traveling, but also just more towards like a shorter range of 250 miles, and being able to be used for, I guess, more of a practical kind of use. And these guys are based in Ohio, I believe, which is also just kind of cool. I don't know, it's just interesting to me, like Ohio doesn't do anything, but they have this guy, so. The Nikola Badger is really interesting, actually. I'm kind of curious about what like their thought process was behind being like a PHEV, but the hybrid part is actually the fuel cell. So it's a fuel cell battery electric guy, which is just incredibly it's such a cool concept to me. I absolutely love this fact. I just learned. It's really interesting. And actually, so Nikola also does the fuel cell heavy duty trucks. So like the class 8 trucks that are like, you know, hauling your Amazon packages up and down the world. So they're also looking at doing this little guy in comparison to the long haul trucks. And I think it's really cool that it does have a range of, it's like a promoted range of 600 miles with 8 kilograms of hydrogen, as well as a 160 kilowatt hour battery pack. So it's got 300 miles for the battery and for the fuel cell aspect of the vehicle. So the Bollinger Motors is kind of a weird guy. I have personal opinions about all of these vehicles. This one I have a lot of negative opinions about, but you know, we're gonna keep it slightly unbiased because I'm trying to be informative, but also I have a lot of feelings about this guy. To start it off, it's a class 3 truck actually, so this actually qualifies it into the medium duty space. So you can see it comes in like its pickup version, and also it's like chassis of being able to kind of put into more of like a bucket truck or some sort of other like working class truck, I guess is how you say it. And so because it's a class 3 vehicle, it actually has different safety requirements as per the FTA. So for example, it doesn't have to have airbags, which was kind of a weird thing that I learned. And also this truck is completely like almost like geometric or like Tetris-y almost. So you can like take off the doors, which is very Jeep-like, and the roof, but you can also take off the windshield, which I'm not really sure why you would need to do that. But, you know, if you're just looking for a fun piece of glass, you just need real quick, you know, you could just take that off. And which I was just like fascinated by the concept of that. This truck up here, so this is actually the B2. It is only, let me look at my notes. It only comes with four seats, so you don't have like that dramatic 5th seat that you're trying to like shove the smallest person into, if that's what you're interested in. And they also talk about having like outlets in the truck, which a lot of the work trucks do already have. And there's also some way you can have like a snow plow on it, which I'm very intrigued about. I'm up in Tahoe right now, so there's like snow all around me. So I'm like intrigued by the concept of an electric snow truck coming around. So, you know, positives and negatives. If you want to take off the windshield, you know, maybe this is the car for you. The Rivian is very fun. I'm very excited about this guy. He's supposed to be coming out pretty soon, in June. He got delayed because of, you know, the drama of the world being stuck inside all day. But actually they just announced that they are testing some of the Amazon Prime Rivian trucks, which isn't a pickup truck, but I like it, so I'm including it. There's actually some in LA, so if anybody goes down there and like sends me a picture, like you will get a crisp high five when we're allowed to touch, and a great picture of my cat, because I really want to see this guy like in person as much as I can. Yeah, I'm very excited about him. He should be incredible. So currently, I guess so when it first comes out, it'll start with a range of 300 miles, and then it'll move forward, I guess, in January of 2022 to get up to the 400-mile range of the car. And a fun thing that Rivian was advertising is that when you are towing at full capacity, you can expect about a 50% reduction in your range. And that towing capacity is 11,000 pounds, which is way more than I ever need, but you know, go big or go home. And this also has the 4 motors, so each wheel is independently powered. Another random fact is, since they are pairing up with Amazon, there is like Alexa in the car, which isn't something I personally want, or I really think anybody should want, but it's kind of weird that you can talk to the car and you're like, Amazon in your house will say, yes, hello, your Rivian is outside, look at how pretty it is. And they're also talking about vehicle to vehicle charging, which is just like fascinating for me. When you have like 180 kilowatt hours of like battery, like why not? Like, let me just pull up with my Volt and I'll charge off this big truck. Like, whoa, wild, very interested. And so those are kind of more of the concrete vehicles. So these last couple, there aren't very many trucks, but these last 2 vehicles are very more hypothetical. Ford has announced that they're talking about doing an electric F-150. So that should be kind of fun to see. I was only able to find this very dramatic picture of it. So, you know, it's still very much in beta. As you can see, we don't have like a range. Yeah, we don't have a range, a kilowatt hour battery pack. We do have mid 2022. So that should be kind of fun because that's like a year and a half away, which is wild to think about. I'm still like not stuck in this decade, but that's fine. And kind of a lower price range than some of the other cars. And then finally, we have the Chevy truck, which this is just a dramatic picture of a Silverado. They don't have any pictures released of it, but I just Googled Chevy truck because I needed a picture here. So y'all know what Silverados look like, but just imagine it with a nice plug instead of like a gas tank, and it just being, you know, far superior than its gas equivalent because it's electric and very much more fun. So that's 2025. So Ford is beating them on their timeline, but as Kelly was talking about, the 35 going all electric on Chevy's perspective was really encouraging to hear. And even though they kind of messed up a little bit with the EV1, I'll forgive them and we can, you know, move forward, try to stay positive. So sorry, I get nervous and I talk really fast, but this is kind of if you were frantically taking notes, you don't actually have to, because one, this is all available online, and 2, I made this very handy dandy table that is mostly filled out because they didn't release all the information. For example, charging speed is really what I love to know. I love to know how fast I can charge these guys, and they did not give that to me. So I have words for some of these cars. But the Hummer and Rivian going at 350 kilowatts, like, oh my gosh, like he's just like, it's so cool. I'm so ready for that. Like, that's just so fast. Like, you're just ready to go. So anyway, that's all I have for y'all. I'm happy to answer any questions or tangent any other direction if you so desire. And yay, trucks.
So
Thanks,
Katrina,
Thanks, Richard. David, you had a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a couple statements about Lordstown. First of all, I don't know if you know, I'm not sure if Peter was there or if anybody else in this group was there, but Lordstown actually came out last fall to Sacramento with one of their rolling demo trucks to the city of Sacramento courtyard. And, you know, they made it very clear that that vehicle, like you said, is meant, you know, predominantly for fleets, predominantly for work vehicles. So that is, you know, that's who they're aiming for. It's funny that you use the term workhorse when you were talking about it, because they literally took over the company that was formerly called Workhorse. And also the thing that I think everyone should know with that one is that the factory they took over in Lordstown, Ohio, had previously built Chevy Cruzes before those cars went out of production. And that was actually a very big political thing when they came into being by the Trump administration. But so that's the story with Lordstown. And I just posted a link for something that literally just came up on my Facebook feed just moments ago about the F-150 potentially being delayed because apparently their battery supplier is the people they had been working with as a battery supplier may be being banned from the United States. So
minor details, it's fine.
Ford might be pushed back a little bit, but yeah, no, thanks for.
Yeah, they included Tesla in that, but Tesla is not doesn't get their U.S. Battery supply from SK Innovation, so it's not really a speed bump for them, but I think it just helped with the clicks to add Tesla in there.
Could be clickbait.
Yeah. No, the story is real. SK Innovation is this is a real story about the ban. I mean, of course, I don't think it's going to last 10 years. I'm pretty sure Biden's going to get into that, but yeah, as far as like for one, I know for a fact that Rivian, as well, I don't know about GM per se for Hummer, but I know Rivian has multiple suppliers for their batteries, so I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I think with Rivian, it's just going to be between their personal vehicles and fulfilling their Amazon commitments. It's going to be interesting to see how they can make both of those work. And I must say, at the LA Auto Show a couple years ago, I actually met RJ Scaringe, who's the founder of Rivian, and all the idiosyncrasies you think of when you think of Elon Musk and his personality and attitudes and stuff. I must say, RJ Scaringe is exactly the opposite. And I just think if anybody can make that company work, he is going to do it. I think the guy's really got his act together.
Any other questions? We have one more presentation otherwise.
I just wanted to thank, I was just going to say thanks to Katrina for putting that table at the end. That was kind of nice, so I could get everything right there. And the one impression I got was the price of these trucks too. It's pretty good. I mean, it's not like when I saw the Hummer price, when I first saw it advertised, that looks like a great car, 130,000 or something like that. So no way. But the rest of these were right in the, right in the ballpark. So I think it's pretty pleasing. Sorry, Jim, go ahead.
Katrina, I was wondering, did you find in your research whether Tesla is actually providing any batteries or running gear, for any of these models?
That's a good question, Jim. I didn't look specifically at if Tesla was kind of sharing their equipment, I guess, and their batteries. I assume they're pretty protective of them just based on, what I've heard, and also that the fact that their cell size is a little bit different than everyone else. But yeah, I wish people would, share more because, the end of the day, we're trying to encourage more electric vehicles on the road overall, and not necessarily have one OEM beat the rest of them, because I just want more cars regardless of the OEM.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you again, Katrina and Richard. Wonderful presentation. We will be sharing those slides after the meeting so that everybody can look at that great table Katrina put at the end, and start counting down the days till they can put in their order for their next electric truck. To continue us on, we have our final presentation from Dominique. Dominique, I will let you, so I guess you're not sharing your screen necessarily. You're going to be giving us a tour of your Mach-E through your video. Is that right?
Yes. So I think that's what I was asked for earlier on. So unfortunately, it's dark out. The visuals won't be great. But so I guess, like I said, I certainly will try to give more from the owner perspective. And if you want to actually look at the vehicle, looking at it in person, I think is obviously the best option. Let me see. Maybe I'll give a couple of pieces of information that may be relevant, and then I'll just walk around the car and if there's any requests like to see the trunk or something, I can do that too. I went with the 230 mile range version because my longest trip is usually between Sacramento area and the Bay Area. So in my Focus Electric, I would often, need to find a charging station. With this car, that was not needed. However, the longest range version goes up to 305 miles. For charging, the charging speed for my car is 115 kilowatt. However, the other variants of this vehicle can go up to 150. So one tip that I would recommend as a vehicle owner is so Ford has this plug-in charge thing. So basically, it's a when you go into the Ford Pass app, you can when you sign up for plug-in charge, you can basically identify charging stations as if well, charging stations and select to use them as if it were opening up the ChargePoint app or opening up Electrify America app, etc. So I found that very useful. The other thing, so this vehicle has one pedal drive as an option. I would highly recommend to try it out and test it out. It's a very, very interesting thing. I think with this, I will just show the vehicle now. All right. So this is the front of the car. Also, let's see, so the side. So when you walk up to the car, let's see if it does this. So it's not doing it now, but one kind of cool thing that you'll probably see is on the side, when you have the phone as a key feature, or when you walk up to it, I guess after leaving it, it'll show the Mustang logo on the ground in lights. What else? Let's see. So, and then here's the back, very, classic Mustang tail lights. And then the only, let's see, is there, I don't know, is there anything, any feature or any part of this car anyone wants to see? Like, should I open up the trunk? Should I?
Yeah, could you open up the trunk and just sort of give us, you could, I don't know, even sit in it so that we can see how big the capacity is?
Yeah, so there's actually, let me get my phone light to show, so I can actually illuminate the trunk. So coming from a Focus Electric, where you have that where the trunk has sort of a bump to it, because Focus was designed for gasoline vehicles. This car, obviously, it was designed purpose built, for around electric, around the battery. So let's see. So there's no bump where the battery would be, and then there's a decent amount of room back here. And yeah, I'm sitting in the trunk. Sorry, it is very, very dark. I can tell in the video thing. When you fold the seats down, certainly there's a lot of room.
Would you say you could fit if somebody wanted to use this car camping, could they lay down flat in the back there, full body?
With the seats down or
Yeah.
without the seats down?
With the seats down.
Yeah. How did I do that? Yeah. So I'm lying down. Yeah, you can't see very well, but yeah, with the seats down, you can definitely lay down in the trunk entirely. So
I'm just curious, were you able to get delivery based on being a Ford employee, or are you delivering these normally now?
They're delivering these normally now. Nobody, they didn't know I was Ford employee until I show up and say and said, "Oh, I'm Ford employee, by the way."
So there's no special treatment then?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Do you know how many of them have been released or been sent out for people to pick up?
Yes, so that can be found. So Ford releases monthly sales numbers. So I would look at those numbers to see that information. I believe in January it was, I think, only 300. So they're very much they're very much in the ramp up phase right now.
If anybody's interested, you can go to macheforum.com and macheclub.com, and that with no dash after the Mach, just MACHE, and you can get a lot of information about the car.
I know people are interested in the front trunk too, because I know it has those dividers that you can remove and stuff. Did you remove those or you left them in?
I left them in. I can pop that open. Yeah, I left them in. I haven't been driving a lot. I picked it up only on the 31st. Let's see. Try to pull.
I'm curious, have you driven a Tesla Model 3 or a Model Y to have any comparison between those and this?
I've let's see. Hold on. Oh, I need to push that. I have a friend who has a Tesla Model 3. So I've driven that one. I mean, I haven't driven it as a driver, but I've been in it. So here's the front.
Lots of space.
Oh, you click. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of space.
Yeah, your Focus did not have that.
Yeah, definitely not.
No.
What what colors were available when you picked out your white?
So there was like a nice red color. There's a blue color. There's a more, like, how do I put it? I don't know if platinum is the better word, like type of white. There's also silver. I chose this. So this white, I will say, on the website, it looks like the most plain color. In person, it's actually pretty good. But I chose it more because I'm like, well, if I'm getting a Mustang, I don't necessarily want to attract,
Right.
I don't want to like have a, red Mustang and get, traffic tickets. So I'm like, I'll get a plain color.
Look sharp.
Thanks. Also, I do have a number of pictures I've taken of it and I put it on Twitter. So happy to share that.
That would be great to see. Yeah. Any other questions right now? Anything else anybody wants to see and highlight? I know this is a strange way to do our sort of car show and tell, but we're working with what we can. So thank you, Dominique, for being willing to do this.
I'm sure Stephen would have rather you have an orange, but it is what it is.
Well, the question I've got is, every Ford dealer I go to, I know so much more about the car than they do. Did you run into that with your dealer?
My dealer, I think the how do I put it? The confounding factor is I didn't need to ask them that much information because I'd already looked up a lot of this on the vehicle. But I would acknowledge, when I had a Focus Electric and I used to go in to get it serviced, it'd be like, oh, hey, your oil change. And I'm like, where are you planning to stick the oil in this car? I want to know. With that said, certainly as, EVs, certainly that was first gen, that was compliance vehicle. this one, as they actually come into dealer lots, my understanding is, certain, and certainly as, the dealers themselves actually start, learning more about electric vehicles, I'd imagine that they'll do better to that on that end.
Did you pre-order the vehicle and prepay online, or buy it like a normal Ford vehicle?
I prepaid online.
And I've heard rumors about dealers trying to do markups and stuff, but if you're doing it Tesla style online, they're not doing that, right?
So buy online. What I meant is the like pre-order, right? The $500 pre-order. Regarding markups. So it's easy. So I would say two things. So one, it's easy enough to see, like when you place the order online, it's easy enough to see if there is a dealer markup. And if that were the case, I definitely would have switched to a different dealer. My very small sample size, my local dealer and the one I ended up choosing in Roseville, neither of them had any markup. Also, the second thing is the Mach-E forum does have a list of dealers that have they verified, in the community, have no markup. So there's a number of ways to, to double check and be sure that you're not going to get markup. So to Katrina's question, there are 3 drive modes. I think it's Whisper, and then actually, why don't I just turn on? There's like Whisper, Excite,
and one that's horse themed. I know that.
Yeah.
Hey Dominic, what's your Twitter?
DOMINIC MEROUX.
Yeah, the modes are Whisper, Engage, and Unbridled.
Unbridled, that's it.
Great.
In Europe, it's called Untamed.
The horse puns are excellent. Thank you, Ford, for those. I'm living for these puns. Do you use them though, Dominic? How do you like your drive modes?
So I honestly, I probably don't use a Mustang as one should use a Mustang. I'm like, I went from a Focus Electric to this vehicle, so I'm not, your sports vehicle driver. I prefer the Whisper mode.
You baby it, I understand.
Yeah.
I baby my car too.
Yeah.
What's the Twitter again?
Let me actually let me enter it.
Yeah, did I get it right there?
I found it.
Oh, you put it in the chat? Okay.
So did you get yours based on, did they contact you based on your, the deposit that you put down and say there's a vehicle that meets your specs, or did you just happen to go in and see what they had and that it met your deposit?
Got it.
So Ford had Ford actually emailed me updates on the vehicle, and then as it got closer, my dealer reached out and said, "Oh, hey, here's here's your window sticker, and by the way, it's going to be in within a couple weeks," that kind of thing.
Great. Well, do we have any other final questions?
Do you know if someone wanted to order one now, what the turnaround time is?
Oh, sorry, I don't. I think I'm not the right person to ask for that information. I don't know. I think the dealer might be able to help with that, or online. Sorry, I don't have that information on me.
From what I know, the maximum number of cars they can build this year are 50,000, with 20,000 going to Europe and 30,000 going to the United States. And I made my order last February, a year ago, and I was order number 40,000. So for this year, they're pretty much, I'm sure by now, completely sold out. How many they're going to make in the future, I don't know. One advantage of Ford, though, is that they have something called A, Z, X, and I think Y plan pricing. If you're an employee, you get A plan. If you're retired, you get another plan. But if you're a member of the Mustang Club, the Mustang Club of America, you can go online and join it for $65 a year. Then you get a reduction in price of, I believe, 2% plus an $853 charge on top of that. But you end up taking about $900 off the price if you go for X plan pricing, and anybody can get it by joining the Mustang Club of America.
Good information.
Now, I would recommend, though, double checking on, whether in fact the pre-orders are all, sold out for this year or not, just because, even though it was a higher number, not necessarily everybody who pre-orders ends up buying.
And I think it was certain editions were sold out. I think the first edition ones and the GTs aren't coming till later. So I think it depends on which edition you're going for as well. I know that that special blue colored first edition one, I know that one sold out really quick.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely is an exciting time.
Dominique?
A lot more EVs coming.
Dominique, how much is your energy consumption per mile?
So I could look up what it was for my last trip, but I haven't driven enough to give you a good sample size.
Nobody knows what good means, so forget about talking about good.
So
just the value.
Right, yeah, sorry, I don't have that on the spot. I haven't
Thank you very much.
Where to find that.
That's okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, I think we're about at time for the meeting. We're actually over on the meeting. So I'm going to do a quick wrap up. Thank you again, Dominique, for being willing to share your car, even though it's so new to you. This was the first time we've done that, so we appreciate you being the guinea pig for it. So everybody, thank you so much for attending the meeting. We are going to be sharing the recording on the Cool Davis website, and we'll send out an email about that, along with the PowerPoints from all the presentations. If we didn't really get to jump back into hot topics, but if people have certain questions about buying an EV or EVs in general, you can shoot us an email at deva@cooldavis.org. So deva@cooldavis.org. I just put that in the chat. And one of our board members or volunteers would be willing to reach back out, answer your questions, and help you out as much as we can, or get you connected to the right person to help you out.
Sandra, can I plug a potential event for SAC EV?
Yes, please do.
So SAC EV is working on, it's not finalized yet, but Eco Challenge Drive on March 6th. Where basically we meet up at a specific location, drive a specific route. You got to maintain between certain speeds, and it's meeting in West Sacramento, so not far from Davis, and driving up along the river, about a 15 mile each way drive, and with some gift card prizes going out to the winners of the most efficient drivers of the trip. And I'll mention it because I'm the one who won it last time in my long range Model 3. I beat everybody else on that eco drive. But keep an eye out on the SAC EV website. There should be more information on that at some point soon.
Great. And I'm sure we'll see an email go out so we can make sure everybody here gets it as well. All right. Without further ado, then, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next month at the SAC EV meeting or the following month at DEVA again. I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your evening.